Boom shakalaka, what is going on, everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love, and today, what a day. The markets are up big for some coins, like Litecoin, for example, up 40%, and potentially not because Charlie Lee Market bought a whole bunch of Litecoin. Potentially. But, you know, that's all allegations. But also everything else is up today. I mean, look at the chart for Litecoin. Boom! Straight up there. But before we get into things, guys, just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Pause the video. Read the disclaimer. Don't be stupid. Not financial advice. All right. Now, today, market cap $120 billion. It was approaching $100 billion. Now it's bounced back up. Bitcoin dominance 53%. All right. The big gainers for today. Now, this was a lot bigger earlier today. ARK was up like 60%. Litecoin was up like 40%. Quant was also up. Veritasium, all that stuff. If we take a look at the big names that you might recognize a bit more, like Bitcoin, that's at 36.45. That's up almost 8% a day. That's almost more than you'd get in a year in like IRA or something like that. In a day. Also, Ripple up 5%. Ethereum up 13% to 118. Litecoin right now at 26% at 41, but it was up a bit higher. EOS up 15%, and yada, yada, yada. So those are the big gains for today. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has broken out of this descending wedge that it's been in. I think that's descending. That looks descending to me. Boom! Broken out to the upside. And who could be happier? Everybody's happy when prices go up. Now, reasons for Bitcoin breaking out, we'll get into some of those later. But first, we'll start with what's going on with Litecoin. Well, earlier this week or last week, Charlie Lee posted fungibility is the only property of sound money, and that's missing from Bitcoin and Litecoin. Now the scaling debate is behind us. The next battleground we'll be on is fungibility and privacy. So with that, he's now focused on making Litecoin more fungible by adding confidential transactions. Privacy, stuff like Monero has. Stuff like a whole bunch of other things have. Keep it private. Keep the government out of our business. Because you know what? We don't have much privacy. And guess what? They abuse our privacy for next to nothing. I was just recently watching Adam Ruins Everything, which is a great show in case you guys haven't seen it. But on that show, I think he was just talking about Facebook, but it could have been all of the different things. But they basically, for an entire year of selling all your data, guess how much they make for it? $12. That's how much your privacy is worth. $12 a year. I would gladly pay $12 to, keep my stuff private. But I don't. I just make videos on YouTube instead. So, yeah. Litecoin adding fungibility and private confidential transactions. That could potentially be the reason for the big jump in Litecoin's price that we see here. Or, Charlie Lee sold at the very top. Maybe he bought at the very bottom. We were just talking in the last video about how the bottom could be here, might be coming in May, but maybe he just market buys at the top, at the bottom, and market sells at the top, and that's how price manipulation goes on. Thank you, Charlie Lee. Now, Litecoin and Beam partner to explore a new protocol called Mimblewimble. Now, it's not exactly new, but it's from the fictional tongue-tying curse from Harry Potter novels, and basically, it's going to allow them to add fungibility and privacy. Now, if Mimblewimble sounds new to you, and you think maybe you're behind the 8 ball on Litecoin, because maybe the price might not go up higher. I mean, it may still come down a bit. Generally, when you have prices shooting up like that, good time to sell. Not financial advice, but, good time to sell. But other coins that have graced my eardrums, or some people just go like this all the time and just talk about it all the time that use Mimblewimble, would be things like Grin. If you haven't heard of Grin, check it out. You can mine it. You can do whatever. But they use Mimblewimble as well. So maybe Grin will be the next competitor for Litecoin. But with Litecoin having privacy transactions, guess what? They're fourth in market cap. The next biggest private transaction one would be Monero. Okay, Bitcoin private's not up there. Nope, doesn't happen. Monero, but that's 13th. And then Dash, and then Zcash. So we don't have any with private transactions. I mean, there is also talk about Bitcoin having private transactions in a while, but, it might be a great way to launder money for anybody who's looking to. Instead of leaving a trail, you should use privacy coins. Now, talking about what's going on with all of these coins jumping up, because it was a surprise for a lot of people that, yeah, the price is up. Well, potentially the Bitcoin bottom is in, potentially. And we were just talking about this, how we're getting close. Maybe by May we will have bottom, or maybe the bottom's already here. Or maybe this is just like a little bull trap before it falls lower. Very possible. But basically, this guy here, Renato Shirakashi, he wrote this article, the bottom is in, on Medium, talking about, he has 4 indicators for why the bottom is potentially here. First, the realized value. Now, Charlie Lee, when he market sold on the top, I don't know if he market sold, but when he sold all his Litecoin on the very top of the market, he said, guess what? This is what happens. The market gets overvalued, and then it gets undervalued, and then it gets overvalued and undervalued. And this is basically what's happening here. This is the realized value of Bitcoin. So this chart right here, this red line here is basically the price, the average price that people bought Bitcoin at. The blue line is the price right now. So as you can see, back in 2015, it dipped below. Now again, dipped below. So that one thing, we're below. We may potentially be below the realized value, or we're at least below the value where people bought it. What else? Well, how about the market value to realized value? Okay, so this is basically the Bitcoin price divided by that realized value. And as you can see, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Well, after it goes down, probably comes back up. And some might be saying, well, it's not down as far as it was back there. That's because, if you can see, it's not that dark here. But, you know, we have a bit of a wedge. The price becomes more stable, forms a little bit of a cone. And therefore, the lows won't be as low as previous lows. The highs won't be as high as previous highs on this thing. The actual value over the realized value. So we're getting in there. But guess what? It's on the bottom side. That could be good news. It could be good news. After reporting on bad news for like a year and a half, whoa, kind of tired of it. Also, the NVT ratio, simply the Bitcoin token supply divided by the daily Bitcoin value transmitted through the blockchain, which is this green line here. Guess what? Look at this. All the way down, all right? Again, we're all the way down, coming back up, but look at how closely it follows it. That's just absolutely crazy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks identical. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means we're maybe going down a little bit, but then back up. Maybe. I wonder if people like actually cared this much about Bitcoin and watched as much about Bitcoin and thought this much about Bitcoin during the last bear market. You know? So those are a whole bunch of things. Other than that, unicorns shoot rainbows out their ass. And that's where the price goes on a logarithmic scale. So, other news in the news. This you may have heard about, but SEC Commissioner Jackson thinks regulators will approve the Bitcoin ETF. So he says eventually, I do think someone will satisfy the standards we laid out. I hope so, yes, and I think so. So he thinks eventually, yes, an ETF will be approved. Great. Eventually, it'll get there. And then eventually, a lot more money will flow in. Was there ever any doubt? No, but it still sucks for the price to be dragged down as long as they have been. Now, that whole Quadriga CX exchange debacle, they had cold storage, apparently, but it turns out that the funds may not be stuck in cold storage from the death of a CEO, but in fact missing altogether, which is not good. Okay, they even had the Canadian Mounties up there looking through wallets that were frozen, but didn't find anything, and that was a pretty shitty joke, so we'll just forget that one. But basically, Quadriga was the filing from Ernst & Young states that Quadriga was unable to access the cold wallets or discovered the cold wallets contain minimal cryptocurrency units. However, Elementus Group CEO Max Galka said it's extremely unlikely that there aren't any cold wallets. It is extremely likely that there aren't any cold wallets. So basically, just a whole big exchange scam. Which, am I surprised? No, because we had the ICO bubble. The exchange bubble is going on right now. We have the STO bubble coming up in the future, and then eventually we'll have the ETF bubble, which may be when people come in, or the next whatever. Tough to predict, but that stuff. Now, all is not lost, because guess what? People are not as stupid in crypto anymore as they used to be. Had somebody tried to do this last January, they would have made probably hundreds of millions of dollars. This January, February, not so much. So a fake website mimicking backed platform fails to scam crypto community. It was a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's right. So basically, there was a scam where there was a website, and it is backedplatform.io, and it said the fake backed website claims that the launch of the platform will take place on March 12th, also offering investors a chance to participate in another funding round accepting investments in Bitcoin. Fortunately, people saw it for a wolf in sheep's clothing. They did not fall for it. They knew it wasn't happening. So, good news for that. And lastly, some great news. Great news. I think this is the type of news that, more than the price going up a little bit, this is the type of stuff which says, oh, we have something going here because we have something that people are actually using. Guess what? The Bitcoin transactions per day increased to January 2018 levels. Now, you remember January 2018 when you're trying to buy Bitcoin, and it took like a day for your transaction to clear because there were so many people buying it. Well, guess what? I don't think there are that many people buying it right now. I don't think so. But the number of transactions, check that shit out. Okay? Here is January 2018. Boom. And here's now. Boom. Transactions per day are up. Now, how is that happening? Well, guess what? Bitcoin is getting adopted all over the world, especially places where the currency is not usable by itself. Places like Venezuela, places like Argentina, Zimbabwe, South Africa. All over the place, people are using Bitcoin because it's better than their actual cash, and it could potentially be the money of the internet of money. So that's great stuff. That's all the news for today, covering all the Litecoin stuff. For those of you who like to watch, I like using signal profits. It's fun for trading cryptocurrencies. It can make like 25% on days when the market's going sideways. Sometimes on days when it's going up even more, you make even more. So check it out. There is a link down in the description. Lastly, guys, coming up in 7 days, 18 hours, 44 minutes, and 53, 52, 51, 50 seconds, I will be at NeoDevCon in Seattle. In the last episode, I gave away 10 tickets to NeoDevCon. I also just remember when making this video that I think if you're a student, you can get free tickets to NeoDevCon. So if you're a student in the Seattle area, look it up, like student tickets to NeoDevCon. I think you can go for free. So that's freaking awesome. Saves you a buttload of money, and you get to check out NeoDevCon. Come say hi to me. Come hang out. So that will be going on. If you haven't yet, you can buy your tickets, devcon.neo.org. You can buy them with Neo. You can buy them with US dollars. And other than that, I would say have a great weekend. I love you all. Thanks for watching, and peace.